While you're playing your film back, start by going to the clip view and selecting Warp. Then set the clip to leader. This forces everything else in Ableton Live to sync to the video's tempo. If that's not something you want, because it may be too fast or slow, turn off Warp, then play it back while hitting the tap tempo to get a good feel of what the speed should be. This is essential to do first, as locators are tied to absolute positions in the timeline and will not move to sync to points in the film if you add them later. The next major thing to work on is to create locators at major points in the clip. To do this, right-click on the timeline and turn the grid off. Next, go back and make sure that follow is turned on. Return to the beginning of the clip. Then go ahead and hit play. You're going to look for major things like camera angle shifts, fades and wipes, or other visual cues. Pause to see one and scrub back to find where it starts. At that point, you want to insert a locator. Having already watched this clip several times, I know that there is one major shift that's going to occur right at the beginning of bar 9. There. At this point, I'm going to minimize my video screen with Control-Alt-V on Windows, then go to Create and add Locator. I'm just going to call this one 1, but if you prefer, you can use descriptive names. Another way to do that is if you hover your mouse over, not the timeline, but the navigator area right there, you can add a locator as well. When all the locators are added, you'll want to turn the grid back on. I usually recommend using narrow, maybe narrowest. Then, if the locators adjust closely to a grid point, move them over. This one, for example, is just a little shy of bar 11, so we'll move it over there. You can also go to Create menu and insert time signature change at any one of the locator points, or at any other point in the timeline, but it's highly recommended that you do so only at bar numbers, so 11.1.1 or 13.1.1. Otherwise, you will get some rather interesting metronome clicks, although they do work well for fades. The only exception to this is the very beginning. Double-click the stop button to return to the very start of the piece. There, you can't insert a time signature because it's the default time signature up here. If you want to change it, change the default time signature numerator and denominator. This will work for most short clips, but it's probably not enough for complex movies where you need to change the tempo. For very complex clips, you're going to need a lot of patience, and you'll need to create a larger tempo map. To do this, turn off Warp on your clip. Set the time signature that you will use at the beginning. Turn on automation with the A key, and expand the master track. Once that's done, select Mixer and Song Tempo. Before you start adding locators, you'll want to find each major point from the start on. As you find them, see if they occur near a grid line. If they don't, automate a tempo change, speeding up or slowing down on the last bar or two of the preceding video until the change that you're highlighting is on a grid line. Add a locator add a breakpoint, and then go on until all the points are set to a grid, changing the time signature as desired while you're doing this. It's difficult and requires a lot of pre-planning, but the results are spectacular.